Straight ahead on CCX News, raising awareness about an increasingly suburban problem, the issue that became personal for this mother-daughter duo. Plus, changing behavior in schools, what a Brooklyn Center Elementary School is now doing that teachers say has made a noticeable difference. But first, volunteers that respond during times of crisis. Now, how those volunteers themselves could use a little help. CCX News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. It's one of the busiest times of the year for house fires. Just this past weekend, a fire destroyed a home in Golden Valley. As Sonia Goins reports, it's fires like these that has charities like the Red Cross stretched thin.
When we go out to a fire, when we were meeting with the clients, sometimes we'll give them a blanket depending on how cold it is.
The winter holiday season is historically a dangerous time for residential fires in Minnesota. In fact, there have been several fires in our area in the past couple of weeks. November 30th, firefighters were called to this home in Crystal. And December 8th, a fire broke out at this home in Brooklyn Center. And this past Saturday, crews rushed to put out flames at this home in Golden Valley.
As we start talking about putting up lights and decorations, make sure that we check all of our electrical connections, make sure our outlets aren't overloaded.
After firefighters arrive on the scene, the next folks to show up are usually Red Cross volunteers.
We've got a lot of people that need our help. Just since July 1st, we've helped more than 1,200 people in Minnesota, and that's going to increase. We respond to more than a disaster a day.
The Red Cross recently tweeted out this map. The red dots indicate fires that occurred in a one-day time period.
They may have lost everything, maybe the worst day of their lives, and we're there to support them and give them the resources that they need to kind of get on their feet.
With the growing number of fires and other disasters, the Red Cross needs more volunteers.
We need those volunteers who are incredibly generous, willing to be on call, to go out at a moment's notice and help their neighbors in need.
We'll also give everybody that is affected by the fire a comfort kit.
Volunteers offer fire victims items that will help them make it through the next 24 to 48 hours.
Toothbrush, essentials.
Comfort and consoling are also on the list.
We give out so many hugs, and just to help them know that we're going to help you get through this first bit.
The nonprofit is also in the business of helping people to stay safe in case there is a fire.
We have free smoke alarms available, and not only that, but our volunteers install them and share fire safety information, help them develop their plan.
Sonia Goins, CCX News.
People can text, call, or email the Red Cross to get a free fire alarm. Meanwhile, the group is hosting an informational session on volunteering coming up on Wednesday, and we've got all the information you need to know on our website, ccxmedia.org. As we went to air Tuesday evening, we were awaiting the identity of a pedestrian killed on a busy Brooklyn Park street. The 70-year-old woman was struck just before 5:30 p.m. Monday on Brooklyn Boulevard, not far from the Bolero bowling alley. She died at the scene. Police say she was not in a crosswalk. The driver who hit the woman is cooperating with police. Several weeks ago, another pedestrian was killed in that same area. A 59-year-old Brooklyn Park man died trying to cross the street near Brooklyn Boulevard and Welcome Avenue. He too was not in a crosswalk. That incident also happened at night. Charges are now filed against two young men accused of stealing packages from the front steps of homes in Robbinsdale and in Crystal. 21-year-old Khalili Griffith and 19-year-old Khalil Brown are each charged with 2 felony mail theft counts. Both live in North Minneapolis. Griffith has previous theft convictions. The Robbinsdale Police Department recovered dozens of items when police stopped the suspect's vehicle. Police are trying to return all of the items to their rightful owners. If you recognize any of the stolen items as yours, Robbinsdale Police ask that you stop by their station with a receipt to get your purchases back. Friends and family are coming together to raise money for a man who is in the hospital after trying to break up a fight in Crystal on Saturday night. Zach Pack has worked at Outtakes Bar and Grill for the last 6 years and is currently in the hospital after being stabbed in the abdomen. Zach has a wife and 3 small children, including a newborn. His friends set up a GoFundMe page to help Zach and pay for medical expenses while Zach is out of work. Currently, they've raised close to $2,000. Members of the Brooklyn Park City Council bid farewells to their colleagues who will not be returning to their council seats. Councilmember Rich Gates decided not to run for re-election after serving 12 years on the council. He says it was a big sacrifice, but one that was worth it.
I can't thank my family enough for what they've done for me in helping to watch my kids, being a single parent.
Gates says his trip to Liberia in 2013 was one of his most memorable times on the council. The trip was a way to strengthen ties with Brooklyn Park's large Liberian population. For Councilmember Bob Maida, who lost in the November election, he leaves with concerns about the city's budget.
The budget is way out of control still, and again, another almost $2 million increase again this year. You know, people just can't afford it anymore, and I feel bad that I'm not going to be here just to help, you know, direct that traffic.
Maida says his proudest accomplishment was eliminating the point-of-sale program, which required home sellers to pay for city inspections when listing their homes. And meanwhile in Osseo, it was outgoing council member Ann Zelenak's last meeting. Zelenak was elected in 2014 on a platform that included preserving Osseo's historic water tower. City staff praised her as being easy to work with. One said he wished she'd stayed on for another term. A Brooklyn Park Lutheran church is celebrating a remodeling project they say was 57 years in the making. When Grace Lutheran Church was constructed in 1961, it was built to become a school, so the congregation worshiped in the gymnasium. 3 years ago, the church decided to transform the cinder block gym into a comfortable, inviting sanctuary.
Having concrete walls, a concrete floor, hard wooden pews, there was a lot of distraction, a lot of noise, and we really wanted to make that. And even the layout of the pews actually draws you to the front of the church. It draws your focus to the cross.
The furniture on the altar has been refurbished and the cross is original to the church. About 150 people worship at Grace Lutheran every Sunday. Still ahead on CCX News, a Brooklyn Center Elementary School has a new program that sets great expectations for their students. Plus, the Champlin Park Gymnastics team aims high this winter after placing at the state meet last season. But first, a weather warm-up is in store this week with temperatures reaching in the high 30s. Earle Brown Elementary School in Brooklyn Center has a new program they are using to make their school more inclusive and positive. In today's School Spotlight, reporter Meredith Hackler shows us how this new program is teaching kids not only how to be better students, but better people.
When you walk through the hallways of Earle Brown Elementary School, you won't see much student art. Instead, you'll see tickets earned by students hanging on bulletin boards.
So when our students are being respectful, empathetic, accountables, or just showing leadership, they will receive a ticket from any member of staff in the building.
Those tickets are a part of Earle Brown Elementary's newly adopted PBIS program, otherwise known as Positive Behavioral Interventions and Support. The program teaches kids about behavior just as they would teach them about other subjects like reading or math.
All those tickets you see hanging on the wall, they're not just slips of paper hanging there. There are over 6,000 positive interactions that have happened between staff and students in this building, which is changing the culture, the atmosphere in the building to become a very supportive, encouraging, and empowering place for students to learn.
This new program has created an immense change in student behavior.
I think one of the big changes that I've seen as students, there's rituals and routines, there's expectations of what students can be doing, where maybe in the past they would always be towing that line.
PBIS is already in about 1/3 of Minnesota schools. The program encourages teachers to focus on positive things students do rather than the negative.
We're bringing more intentionality from our teachers of what they've already been doing, which is giving positive recognition to students, but we're just being more intentional about it.
Another intention is to make children more acceptable of other cultures, a practice teachers would like children to continue once they step into the real world.
We like to see this expand simply beyond something that just happens in the school to something that happens in our community as a whole.
In Brooklyn Center, Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
One nonprofit says homelessness in the suburbs is up. How people are helping coming up next. But first, 2 volleyball standouts from Champlin Park are set to play in a national all-star match at the Target Center. John Jacobson has details next.
The Champlin Park Gymnastics team has high expectations this season after finishing 4th at the state meet in 2018. Here's Jason Malillo with a preview of the Rebels.
Champlin Park returns nearly its entire team from last season, and that has the Rebels thinking big.
Our team can get really good. A lot of us still don't have skills that we would need, but by the end of the season I know that we'll all have them, and I think our team can end up doing really good in state if we win sections.
CP is led by Cheney New. The sophomore is already a 2-time state individual champion.
She's set all our record books. She's starting to set the state record books. That ability to focus in and deliver top performances when the pressure is on is obviously something she's got.
Beyond New, the Rebels are deep and talented, with returning gymnasts like Lily Sutherland, Avery Donovan, and Emma Saxa.
It's really competitive because we have to compete for our spots, but it's in a positive way. We still support each other. But we all cheer each other on, no matter what spots we get, but it's good. It's a good competition.
4th place at state last winter was a great finish for the Rebels, but this season they want more and are embracing the challenge.
Last season was a very challenging season. We didn't start off the best, and we were just happy to be there. So coming in 4th was very satisfying, and we knew that with the girls coming back this year that we could do even better, and it just even has more potential for this season.
This year we were hoping for top 3 at state, and there's a lot of talk about that at practice, just like work hard to get your skills, get the routines, get the scores.
Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
Sydney Eckert is another returning athlete for the Rebels. The junior captain was an individual state qualifier on the balance beam. Champlin Park has beaten Elk River Zimmerman and Coon Rapids so far this season and hosts the Rebels Luau Invitational this Saturday. 2 of the top prep volleyball players from the area have one more high school match to play in later this week. It's a big honor for Champlin Park seniors number 11 Izzy Ashburn and number 1 Lauren Clark. The 2 were selected to play in the Under Armour All-America volleyball match this Friday at the Target Center. The match features 24 high school All-Americans from across the country, split into 2 12-player teams. Ashburn will play next year at Wisconsin, Clark at Penn State. Both are excited for this opportunity.
Well, this is the last time I'm playing with Lauren, so I'm really excited, and it's going to be really exciting to play on that court and with those people and just such amazing talent from everywhere around the country.
Yeah, it's definitely really fun, and the fact that it's in Minneapolis this year, it's kind of cool that a lot of our family members are going to be able to come, and it's going to be fun to be in the comfort of our own home.
The All-America match begins at 8 o'clock Friday night at Target Center. Ashburn and Clark will play on Team West. Park Center should be one of the top boys basketball teams in the area this winter. On this week's Sports Jam show on CCX, Jay Wilcox profiles the Pirates' Emmanuel Tamba. Here's a clip from that story.
Emmanuel Tamba is the type of guy any coach wants on the team. The Park Center senior is in his 4th varsity basketball season. He probably won't lead the Pirates in scoring often, but Tamba does a little bit of everything and has learned a lot from freshman year until now.
I would say I'm more patient. I understand that, scoring isn't everything. I'm one of the guys on the team, who don't mind doing the dirty work, diving on the floors, jump balls, stuff like that. So we all know our roles, and I know my role real well. And I think that's what makes us that's what made us good last year, and I think that's really going to take us a little bit further this year. So I would say my biggest strength, defensing and slashing to the hoop. And what I could work on is, shooting. You can always work on shooting, but I pride myself off of defense, so more of an energy guy.
Hearing and talking about what he's brought to the program kind of naturally starts making me think about life without him, and that's when I start getting a little nervous because he's meant everything to this program. He from day one has kind of embodied what we want Park Center Pirates to be.
Watch the rest of that story and much more on Sports Jam. It's on through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. on CCX1. Live boys basketball tonight, Tuesday at 7:30 on CCX as Maranatha hosts Providence. Shannon, back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Up next, a new awareness campaign called A Bedless Night. Find out what that is when we come back. Interfaith Outreach is in the middle of their biggest fundraising push of the year. During their annual Sleep Out campaign, they encourage people to sleep outside and raise awareness and money to fight homelessness.
The challenge that we're seeing is that 429 individuals showed up at our doorstep last year experiencing homelessness at some point throughout the year. And that's almost 1 in 5 of the families that we serve. And that is an unprecedented number. We've never seen anything to that level before, ever. And so we're seeing a rise in poverty, we're seeing a rise in need, and individuals needing a place to live.
And this year's awareness campaign, Interfaith Outreach, has started promoting the sleep out to more resemble suburban homelessness, where people sleep on floors or couches of friends. One Maple Grove family has come up with a unique way to share that message, and they are the focus of today's holiday spirit story.
It's about our plan of action.
Madison and Melissa Swoverland are making a list and checking it twice.
What's our goal, how many bags we want to pack.
But this planning and preparation isn't for the holidays, but instead for a bedless night.
Even though somebody's not standing outside on the corner as a homeless, they could still have a place not to call home, and they're sleeping on somebody's couch.
Last year, the family hosted 6 girls for a bedless night so they could learn more about suburban homelessness.
And we used the downtime at bedless night as well to go over stories, which we have right here. And it's like a kit that IOCP has provided for us on how to make this experience so phenomenal and memorable and impactful for everybody involved.
They also made bags to hand out.
Each girl the next morning after the bedless night, they are sent home with care packages to keep in the back of their car, and then they hand them out whenever they see a homeless person.
Supporting suburban homelessness is important to Madison and Melissa because they were homeless for a short time a few years ago.
Because we've been there and we're very grateful for our life now. However, we understand that now that we're in a place that we can give back, that it's super important to give back while you can.
We are so blessed to have these two so involved in our work.
This mother-daughter volunteer duo kickstarted the Bedless Night initiative last year so younger people could better understand what it's like to be homeless in the suburbs. This year, they hope to involve more than 15 girls and make 150 bags.
They literally are creating excitement and enthusiasm and just joy for the work that we do in the community.
You already did that.
Interfaith Outreach hopes to raise $2.4 million with this year's Sleep Out campaign, and they are still a pretty good ways from that goal. So if you'd like information on how you can host a bedless night or donate to the Sleep Out campaign, just check out Interfaith Outreach's website, and we will have a link to that website on our ccxmedia.org. And that's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here again tomorrow starting at 4 o'clock.